Hi, Alex here from Sonic Reaction, and I'm going to show you how to record your contribution to a song being put together by your sound engineer. They will have sent you a guide track, and your job is to give them back a recording that they can add to everyone else's contributions to create the complete song. I'm using Studio One Prime, which is the free version of the DAW from PreSonus. I'm going to assume that you've downloaded and installed this from the PreSonus website, and that you have successfully installed an ASIO driver for your audio interface device. I'll hit the spacebar on my keyboard to start and stop play. I'll display other keyboard shortcuts as I use them. If you're on a Mac, shortcuts use Command instead of Control and Option instead of Alt. So here's Studio One immediately after startup, and we're going to select New Song. We'll use the empty song template, and we'll give our song a name. Pick a sample rate. I'd suggest 44.1 kHz, unless your sound engineer has specifically asked for something else. For resolution, use 24-bit if your interface will support it. Otherwise, use 16-bit. Set your time base to seconds, and your song length for the time being to a few minutes. We'll amend that later. You don't want to stretch audio files, so make sure that's unticked. Here's the new song screen. Before we do anything else, we'll configure our audio interface. Go to Studio One Options, and I'm going to select ASIO for all. Now I want to set my device block size to a relatively small number. The smaller you set it, the less delay there is between the sound going in and the sound coming out. But if it's too small, you start to get clicks and pops in your sound. It really depends on how powerful your computer is and the audio interface driver. I'm going to set this one to 128 samples, as I think that will be fine for this laptop. The sample rate here should be the same as you've set for your song. If it's not, then press the Control Panel button to get access to your audio interface's driver. That's my interface setup. Now I'm going to go to Song Setup. You shouldn't need to change anything on this page, as you put these parameters in when you created the song. Let's go to Meta Information. Here we can add in the details we want for the song. We'll go to the Audio I/O setup. And here you need to make sure you have a mono input available if you're recording something like a microphone or guitar, and a stereo input available if you're recording a stereo instrument, such as keyboards. If need be, you can add mono or add stereo. You can see here we've got both, so that's fine. On the Outputs tab, you should already have a main out, and that's all we need for now. So we'll press OK, and we're back to the blank song screen. The first thing we need here is the guide track your sound engineer has given you. So we'll use the Files tab to navigate to its location on your hard drive. And once we've found it, we just drag it into our song page. And we can close the browser. Let's listen to our guide track. Right, so I'd like the cursor to go back to wherever I left off. So if I right click on this, and click this, and try again, that's better. I can set up my true song length now, so if I display my markers and zoom out, you'll see my current song end is determined by the song length we set up. If I click on this to select it and press Alt+Y, I'll get my start and end point set up to the true start and end of my song. I'll press Z to go back to my previous zoom level, and I'm going to add a marker at my start point. You can, of course, add more markers anywhere you like. Now we'll add a new track. In my case, I want to add a mono track. We want to give our track a meaningful name. Double click. And for your input, select the input your instrument is on. In my case, that's input 2. And I'd like to give it a distinctive colour. Right, now we need to set our record levels. So I'll open the mixer. Here's our two tracks, and this panel over on the left allows us to bring up other elements. I'll deselect the ones I don't want, but I do want to see my inputs so I can set my input level. The best thing to do here is to tweak the controls on your audio interface so you get a decent level, but be careful never to go into red, because that's where you get distortion. I've also got a clipping indicator on my audio interface, so I make sure that never goes red. That's about right for me. Now we can arm the track for recording. You'll see these buttons are also on the track header. This little speaker icon allows you to link your input through to the output. I'd recommend that you leave it off if possible and monitor your input using the direct switch on your audio interface. If you can't do that, then you'll need to switch this on. I've got a direct monitor switch on my audio interface, so I'll leave this off. Now let's set the right balance between our guide track and our input. You might be able to do this on your audio interface, but if not, you can use the mixer. That's fine. We can close the mixer. I want to set up layer recording, so I'll open the record panel and click Takes to Layers. My preference when recording is to set up a pre-roll, so I'll do that. And I'll make it 3 bars long. I'll put my cursor where I want to start recording, and I'm ready to record. I've made a couple of mistakes, but most of it's good. I'm going to record it again. Now I've got 2 takes, and I can go through them and pick the best take for each phrase. Here's my first take, and here's my second. At the moment, the sound you'll hear is the latest take I recorded, but I can switch it to the first take wherever I want. So let's go through the track. This time, I want the cursor to stay where it is when I stop it, so I'll untick this. Right, let's listen. I don't want that. I'll just put a marker here. You may want to zoom in and out. You can do that by pressing E to zoom in and pressing W to zoom out. I'm going to use this listen tool to compare my takes. You'll hear the listen tool solos the track. So I want to switch this bit to the first take. I'll go back to the arrow tool and drag it over take 1. By the way, I can use keyboard shortcuts to switch between these tools. Once you've switched a section, you may want to adjust where the take's switched over. We'll just listen to the changeover point. Zoom in to see it better. And you can move your switch point by hovering the arrow tool over the lower part of the join until you get this double arrow. Then drag. I'll just switch off the snap so I can drag freely. Now we'll do the other join. Still a duff bit there, so I'll move the switch point along to the gap. Middle of the gap is a better transition point. Sounds okay, let's listen to it all. Good. Now we'll listen for the next bit I want to comp. I've gone through the track and done all the comps I want. Of course, you might find a bit where neither take is satisfactory, like this ending here. I want a single bass note at the end. No. No. You can just record a third take and drop it in. I'll just demonstrate that. Record. Timing was a bit off. I'll do it again. That's better. Now I'll set my drop-in point. This technique is called comping, and if you want to know more about it, you can search for the appropriate videos. When I'm recording vocals, I usually do 3 takes, then audition each phrase to pick the best one. But for instruments, I'll sometimes only do 1 full take, then do drop-ins as I need them. Good. I'll zoom out now. And I don't need take 3, so I can just delete it. I've gone through my whole track and I've got it the way I want it, so I'll create an audio file I can send to my sound engineer. First I'm going to disarm the track and lock it so I don't inadvertently change any of my edits. Since I only want to save my contribution, I'll solo the track, and now we need to use the mixer to check that the track is okay for level. As I'm playing it through, if I set the levels too high, I'll get clipping. You can hear that's all distorted. So I'll drop it back. Now I'm getting -10 to -12, and that's fine. If it was -20 or 30, you might want to bring it up a bit. I'm ready to export my track. I'll give the track a name. For format, a WAV file is safest for compatibility, but if your sound engineer can handle FLAC files, these are better, as it's a lossless compression format that produces smaller files than WAV ones for no penalty. That's what I'm going to use here. For resolution, use whatever you set the song to record at, and also pick the same sample rate that you recorded at. For range, I want my file to match my guide track, as that will help the sound engineer to sync up my tracks with the other ones. So I'll choose start and end markers. Since I've got a mono track, I'll set my output to mono, and I'll also untick this, as the BPM on my recording bears no relation to the actual tempo. If this is ticked, the file will open in Explorer after exporting. Now we'll do the export. There's the file we've created, and you can send that to your sound engineer using WeTransfer or any other method you like. We'll just play it. That's our job done. But before we finish, we'll just do a bit of tidying up. We'll bring up the pool on the browser. This bit is optional, but it could save you having useless files lying about on your PC. Remove unused files. And we'll save our song to finish off with. This is Alex from Sonic Reaction Studios, and I hope this video has been interesting and useful. If you liked it, please consider subscribing to my channel and providing feedback. Thanks for watching.